What up guys, Miguel here from Yugatech, and in this video we are taking a look at the successor to last year's best gaming phone, the ASUS ROG 8 Pro. A gaming-centric marvel that bridges the gap between raw gaming power and everyday usability. Just look at this new muted design. Less gamer-esque than ever, most likely to cater to a wider demographic surpassing dedicated mobile gamers. The question is, with its stealthier aesthetic and updated performance, is it still worth picking up? Let's find out. Starting off with design, the ASUS ROG Phone 8 Pro only comes in Phantom Black. And this is definitely the most noticeable change with this iteration of the ROG phone. Gone are the copper highlights and blue accents, and if there was anything from ASUS's own ecosystem this phone would pair up nicely with, it would have to be those gorgeous new 2024 ROG Zephyrus G14 and G16 laptops, obviously in their black colorways. Going back to the ROG Phone 8 Pro, for buttons and ports, it still features left and right air triggers on the right side, with the volume rocker and power button present here as well. At the bottom is a USB Type-C port, a dual nano SIM card tray that features no expandable storage, a speaker grill that houses 1 out of 2 stereo speakers, and a 3.5mm audio jack. On the left side is another Type-C port that users may also use for charging and data transfers, but it's also meant for accessories like this AeroActive Cooler X or Unit K with. At first glance, the back panel definitely looks like a departure from its predecessor. It's not a complete departure as we still retain the usual ROG phone branding like here, and there. And what they actually say plays good homage to, well, the old gamer-centric aspect of these ROG phones. They say stuff like Dare to Win and GLHF, short for Good Luck Have Fun, and established in 2006 because that's when the first ROG phone came to existence. But apart from those three, we do get some ROG branding on the camera module as well as here at the bottom right or top left, depending on how you look at the device. Speaking of that camera bump, it's on the thick side as well. It kind of has this stacked looking design, but for the most part, it isn't unwarranted. More on that later. Now, if you still haven't noticed in the intro, here at the rear, the ROG 8 Pro still features anime vision. Now in this, well, dotted LED iteration, if you can clearly see the dots, maybe the B-roll will get it better. Either way, it's pretty cool and completes the whole stealth cyberpunk feel to this phone. Users can hop into the Armory Crate console and toggle it on or off from there. We also get a slew of customizable preset options for the dotted display to react to for incoming calls and notifications, playing games, playing music, and so much more. Our favorite comes in the form of a countdown timer for taking photos at whatever timer length you choose, whether that's 5 seconds, 2 seconds to 10 seconds. The countdown just comes out like where that logo comes out, and you know, if you're taking those Gen Z selfies, you know, like it just works. It kind of reminds me of the like that dotted starry Galaxy case from the Galaxy S10. I'm pretty sure we probably have footage of that from 2019. It's pretty sick. So the rear panel itself is this nice textured anti-glare Gorilla Glass panel that features a diagonal slit reminiscent of the aforementioned 2024 Zephyrus models. Overall, while the design is still unmistakably ROG, at the front, ASUS has managed to slim down the bezels even more, and the ROG 8 Pro is noticeably slimmer than last year's ROG Phone 7 Ultimate. And the decision to add IP68 water and dust resistance is also a welcomed addition. So mobile gamers and everyday users can rest assured that this phone is protected from accidental spills and the elements. Moving on to the beautiful 6.78-inch Full HD Plus LTPO AMOLED panel. ASUS has confirmed it's a flexible one sourced from Samsung, and it features a 165Hz refresh rate, just like last year. And it goes up to 2,500 nits of peak brightness, making viewing under direct sunlight a walk in the park. And it's a visual feast with HDR10 support. For display protection, we get a layer of Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2, which is rated for drops of up to 6.5 feet. For auditory performance, the ASUS ROG Phone 8 Pro features dual stereo speakers. The drivers are found in the bottom firing grille and in the earpiece grille in the top bezel. And honestly, they're pretty good. Although a lot of us in the office have noticed a dip in loudness compared to last year's ROG Phone 7 Ultimate at max volume. Nonetheless, the soundstage is nice and balanced with separation evident for a smartphone, and users won't need to max their volume out when binging shows or movies in a dark room, but should also notice it's loud enough to fill a room at max volume. Overall, those who are thinking of purchasing the device should be satisfied with it for their mixed display usage. For in-display biometrics, the ROG Phone 8 Pro features one of the optical variety, and it's very accurate from the get-go. Users can even customize the animation and indicator style in the settings menu, but it also features optical face unlock, which also works for the most part, unless in complete darkness. Jumping into the new camera system. The ROG Phone 8 Pro now features a 50-megapixel Sony IMX890 sensor as its main camera, with gimbal OIS, and acts as a 35mm focal length, followed by a 13-megapixel ultrawide and a new 32-megapixel dedicated telephoto sensor, which we were missing last year. Whether you're capturing detailed landscapes or zooming in for a shot during a live gaming session, the ROG Phone 8 Pro's camera system has definitely improved this year. Although in low-light performance, the smartphone tends to struggle a bit more. But it can still hold its own, with night mode doing a pretty good job of brightening up the image with more than good enough detail preservation. Moving on to video capabilities, the ROG Phone 8 Pro can shoot some very usable video, especially for social media, featuring recording resolutions of up to 8K at 24 frames per second, 4K at 30 or 60 frames per second, and the same for Full HD and HD resolutions. The addition of hyper-steady stabilization takes handheld video recording to another level, only accessible at a max Full HD resolution or 1080p of up to 60 frames per second. And the stabilization is superb. But take note, users will have to deal with a crop when using this feature as well. At 8K and 4K resolutions, we still get access to adaptive stabilization, which does a decent job with less of a crop. But of course, it's not as, stabilized as the hyper stabilization. This is an 8K video sample shot at the only frame rate available on the ROG Phone 8 Pro. That is 24 frames per second, again at 8K resolution. Overall, the camera system on the ROG Phone 8 Pro is a great improvement from its predecessor, and with nifty stabilization features on board. It doesn't even need a gimbal for smooth pans and tilts, which, at the end of the day, is a win. For software, the ROG Phone 8 Pro runs on Android 14 and features the ROG 8 UI launcher out of the box. We can go into launcher personalization found in the settings menu to change the gamery Shadow Elite theme into the more classic Zen UI theme ASUS users have come to love. The interface is pretty clean with virtually no bloatware installed, and in an earlier build we noticed some icons in the quick access menu that were wrongfully associated with some settings, but all that has been fixed with a software update. For the most part, everything feels snappy and basically no hiccups whatsoever. All ROG features can be fiddled and customized in the Armory crate, from AeroActive Cooler modes to the air trigger preferences, haptics, and performance modes. For the most part, we kept our unit in X mode with no major issues. The new AeroActive Cooler X, the cooling accessory that ASUS claims as a necessity for prolonged gaming sessions, is back, albeit with a reduction in the number of mappable macro buttons and the absence of a built-in subwoofer like last year. ASUS claims that the trade-off is more efficient cooling, but it's all in all a preference discussion for gamers who love the additional buttons and immersive audio boost from last year at the end of the day. Under the glass of the ROG Phone 8 Pro is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, a 4nm chipset that features an octa-core CPU capable of up to 3.3 GHz and features an Adreno 750 GPU. The phone is configured with a mad 24GB of LPDDR5X memory and 1TB of UFS 4 storage. No expandable storage here. Overall, it handled most demanding games with ease. Our producers here in the office played some Diablo Immortal, Honkai Star Rail, Mobile Legends, and Genshin Impact on the ROG Phone 8 Pro, all with a general consensus of the phone handling everything with no problems whatsoever. The same can be said for most, if not all, productivity apps and workflows done on this device. For those of you interested in our synthetic benchmark scores, we'll be flashing them on screen now. Powering this gaming beast is a smaller than last year 5,500 mAh battery, which, if you think about it, is probably what played a big part in the reduction of the phone's thickness. And we still get 65-watt wired charging speeds with compatibility for Qualcomm Quick Charge protocols all still present. And the same 10-watt wired reverse charging feature. What's new here in the ASUS ROG Phone 8 Pro is the addition of 15-watt Qi wireless charging, which we believe is ASUS doubling down on catering to a generally wider demographic. Is this a sought-after gaming feature? Definitely not. It's a convenience one, and if you're somebody who needs to borrow a MagSafe power bank in a pinch, well, it'd be nice to know that the ASUS ROG Phone 8 Pro gets Qi wireless charging. Charging the phone up takes about 40 minutes with the included brick, and we think it's worth mentioning that leaving the device in X mode does drain the battery more than you think when in standby. So generally, for the best battery life, leave the device in ultra durable mode, but dynamic works if you'd rather just not be bothered to fiddle with the armory crate as well. For battery benchmark results, as usual, we've run these tests with the phone set to airplane mode, volume muted, and at 50% brightness to account for mixed usage variables. In PCMark's Work 3.0 battery test, the phone lasted 11 hours and 58 minutes. While in our standard Yugatech video loop test, it garnered a result of 23 hours and 36 minutes. And did it reflect in real-world use? Yes, it did. Potential buyers can expect great battery life even when with quick gaming sessions sprinkled around throughout the day. Now, if you were planning to play for 8 hours straight, your results will definitely vary. Now, before we wrap this review up, let's address the biggest elephant in the room, the price. The ROG Phone 8 Pro is not a budget-friendly smartphone. At the time this video was recorded, we still haven't gotten its official Philippine pricing. But in the US, this particular model, the one configured with 24 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of internal storage, it goes for $1,499.99, which roughly converts to around 83,400 pesos. The cost is definitely not for everybody, but it promises an unparalleled mobile gaming experience, and in a not too obvious made-for-gaming package. While its competition may offer arguably better value for the cost, it's crucial to note the differences: the lack of IP68 water and dust resistance, Qi wireless charging, and the versatile camera setup. The ROG Phone 8 Pro positions itself not just as a gaming phone, but as a flagship phone with gaming DNA. So, what did you guys think of the ASUS ROG Phone 8 Pro? Let's be honest, if you had unlimited funding, which gaming phone would you get? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video or found it informative, educational, or fun, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon so you get notified for our future uploads. Be sure to visit yugatech.com and follow us on our socials. That's Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok for the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this has been Miguel, and we're gonna miss this guy. This has been the ROG Phone 8 Pro, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers. Ah!